one of these three women is a Mafia wife? Number one, what is your name, please?
My name is Rosalie Bonanno.
Number two.
My name is Rosalie Bonanno.
Number three.
My name is Rosalie Bonanno.
Only one of these people is the real Rosalie Bonanno, and is the only one sworn to tell the truth. Now let's meet our panel. Actor and raconteur Orson Bean. Star of Mama's Family, Vicki Lawrence Schultz. Book commentator and author Jay Johnstone. And to tell the truth's very own Kitty Carlisle. Here's the host of To Tell the Truth, Lynn Swan.
Oh, good morning, and good morning, panel.
Good morning to you.
Jay, come on, get in that chair. What's the problem here?
I'm enjoying myself.
We'll get right into the story presented by our first team of challengers, all three of whom claim to be Rosalie Bonanno, and here is her story. Please read along with me. I, Rosalie Bonanno, am married to the Mafia. When I became engaged to my husband, Bill, I didn't know he belonged to one of the country's top Mafia families. His father is Kingpin Joe Bananas Bonanno. I was even more shocked to learn that my father, Salvatore Profaci, was also in the Mafia. I knew him as a businessman. Even though my underworld roots were deep, I sure wasn't prepared for life as a Mafia wife. My husband was rarely home on weekends. He had no bank accounts and no insurance. Often we were dogged by the FBI and harassed by news reporters. Many times I was told to make dinner for an army of mobsters. Years ago, my husband was sent to federal prison. I was forced to take 3 jobs just to make ends meet. Somehow, I kept our children in Little League, the Boy Scouts, and in church. Finally, I'm telling my story here and in my book, Mafia Marriage. Signed, Rosalie Bonanno. We'll find out more about this Mafia marriage right after this. Welcome back. Panel, these 3 people all claim to be Rosalie Bonanno, who is married to the son of a Mafia kingpin. So we'll start the questioning. Kitty, with you.
Thank you. Number one, when did you find out about your own father?
My husband told me about it.
And number two, you grew up in that household and never knew anything that was wrong?
I was sent to a convent when I was 7.
And number two, when did you get out?
When I was 18.
And number three, did you have a bank account or any kind of identification when you were at home?
I never had anything to do with money. Everything was always taken care of in my family.
I see. And number two, when you were married, was this a kind of an arranged marriage between separate families?
No, my father and Joe Bonanno were very close friends, so we all grew up together. I was in love with my husband long before I met him.
And number one, is he...
Oh, thank you. Jay.
Number two, what is a made man?
That means that he's fingered.
Number three, where do you live now? Where's the Bonanno family home?
I live in Tucson, Arizona.
Number one, when your husband and your father went out to a lot of meetings, what part of the cities of New York did they go to?
I really don't know.
Number two, when you went to the convent, you got out at 18, you got married. What kind? Was it a big wedding? Was it the singers come like the Italian wedding you see on television?
Oh, it was an enormous wedding, and finally the men took over planning it. It was so big.
Number three, where was the wedding held?
And that's it, Jay. Oh, time's up. Time's up. Vicki.
Well, I want to know, number one, what's going to happen to you as a result of this book? I mean, aren't you afraid?
No, I'm not afraid. It's my story.
And
I haven't hurt anyone, I don't think.
There will be no retaliation, or?
I don't think so.
Number two, how long were you married before you found out about your husband?
Well, I actually had to read it in the newspaper. When I was growing up, the newspapers were all cut out. All the articles were cut out. But when my husband was sent off to prison was when I read it in the newspaper.
And number three, didn't that frighten you?
I was frightened, but I never personally had any violence or saw any violence. So I was frightened, but that's not what I had seen at home. I grew up in a lot of loving atmosphere and family, so it didn't really mean anything to me for a long time.
Number one, what were you...
Thank you, Vicky. Orson.
I think I knew you for Salvatore Profax. Good man. No, I did. I knew a guy named Rocky Palladino. He was my friend in the Mafia. He used to call me Oscar Beans. Hey, Oscar. Beans. All right. Number one, did you ever really cook for all of these guys? Did you make big vats of spaghetti sauce?
Yes, I did.
Number three, in the movies, there's always a fat Italian guy in the kitchen making it. He says, you put a little oregano. Did they have the women working in your family?
Abbiamo sempre lavorato noi, eh?
Ah, bene, grazie, prego. Number two, tell me about yourself now. Was he a loving husband?
Well, he was charismatic.
Did he take you out on Saturdays? I've heard that the Saturdays are the wives' night to be taken out.
When we would go out, we were treated like royalty.
Yeah,
but that
of
wasn't
course.
very often.
I'm treating you like royalty in case it's you, number two.
Orson, thank you. The time is up, panel, and time for you to vote for either number one, number two, or for number three. Our team of challengers will receive $500 for each incorrect vote with a guarantee of $1,000. And if the panelists vote completely, the team will receive $3,000. So, panelists, you ready to cast your ballots? Kitty?
Well, it's very hard to tell because we really didn't get any definitive answers from anybody. But I like number one because she said, I don't think I'm hurting anyone.
Okay. Jay?
I go along with Kitty. I like number one. I didn't necessarily agree with some of the answers of number two and three.
Well, gosh, they were all really good. I don't really know. And the reason I voted for number three was because she said that she grew up in a loving home, and I can't imagine anybody just kind of hanging in there like this unless it was all very loving around them and they had no clue.
Okay. Orson?
Well, I'm a made panelist, you see that, and I don't think it meant I got fingered or got the finger or anything. I voted for number three because she looks like she has a little spaghetti sauce on her. No, she just she's beautiful enough to
Smell that garlic from over here, huh?
She spoke Italian to you. Okay.
Gracias.
All right. The votes are all in. Number one, you have 2 votes. Number two, you don't have a vote. And number three, you have 2. Now it's time to find out who the real underworld wife is. Will the real Rosalie Bonanno please stand up? Rosalie, I have to. When we talked about you being married to the Mafia, everybody got quiet. When people find out that you were involved in the family in that way, do they become afraid of you?
Well, there's different types of people, so I get received in different ways. Some people are proud to know me.
Yeah. And your children, how are they responding to all of this?
They're doing very well. Thank you.
Oh, that's wonderful. Let's find out who your imposters are. Number two, what's your name and what do you do?
My name is Marlene Selsman, and I just produced a CD called Louis Armstrong, the Composer, that is currently in record stores all over the country.
That sounds like you have to go out and buy one right away. Number three, you received 2 votes. Your name and what do you do?
My name is Marticia Palmer, and I'm a court-certified interpreter in French and Italian.
And the skill came in handy to lure 2 people, or at least one, Orson, into voting for you. There are 2 incorrect votes. With $500 a vote, your team will receive $1,000. Thank you all so much for being here today on To Tell the Truth.